morning everyone. I'm going to be making some Marmite bread today. This is a quick and easy recipe, but you do need to allow an hour and 20 minutes total for proving it. So let's get started, shall we? First of all, I like to use, when I make my bread, I like to use half or maybe a third to a half of white, because I find it makes my bread rise more, although I don't actually normally eat white bread. I do use a third to a half of white with my wholemeal or my spout or my malted, just to make it, I find it just makes it rise a bit better and a bit more fluffier, because wholemeal bread on its own can be quite dense. So to start with, I think I'm going to use 500 grams in total of bread flour. So I think I'm going to go half. I'm going to go 250 of strong white bread flour. So put in here. And then to that I will add 250 of a wholemeal flour. Oops, a bit too much. Take a little bit of that out. Use that to break down. So, and then to that we just add a teaspoonful of sugar. I'm just using caster sugar. You can use demerara sugar or granulated sugar. Just a teaspoonful of that in there. And then I use 2 teaspoonfuls of bread yeast. Just 2 level teaspoons of just bread yeast, and then salt. Because I'm making Marmite bread, normally I would put maybe between 1 and 2 teaspoonfuls of salt in my bread, but Marmite is quite salty, so I'm only going to put sort of half a teaspoonful of salt in. Then we're just going to let the mixer give that a little quick spin round. Just grab my spatula. This is my battered and old spatula. I think I've had this for about 30 years, but it's my favourite one, and I can't get rid of it because I use it for all my cooking. Right, let's just mix that up a little bit. Just mix the sugar in and the yeast in. Then to that we need to add about 340 millilitres of sort of hand hot water, not scalding hot and not too, just sort of so you can put your hands in it and it's sort of comfortable. So I'm just going to pour that in. I'll leave a little bit out just in case I don't need it. I need a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. I'm just going to mix that in until it gets sort of claggy and starts to sort of join together. As you can see, it's just starting to come together, and when it gets to that stage, then we just add I've just got some extra virgin olive oil. You can add any oil you like. Actually, my favourite oil to use is walnut oil, but you can just add any rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, just any vegetable oil or coconut oil, any you like really. But I like this one, and also I like walnut oil. So just adding literally a couple of tablespoons of oil and then just let it mix. It will start to come together. Sorry, the mix is so noisy. Like I say, you can do this piece by hand. It's starting to come together now, and what I'm going to do, I'll just stop it because I'm going to add the Marmite. Right, the dough started to come together, so now I'm just going to add the Marmite. I used that for the flour, didn't I? I'm going to put in about quite a nice heaped tablespoon of Marmite in there. Here we go. Scrape it off on there. Get it in there. There was an easier way of me doing this. I could have, if I used a metal spoon, I could have put the spoon in hot water first and then scooped the Marmite, and then it would have come off the spoon easier. But hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? So anyway, there we go. Just scrape that last bit off there. Lovely. Okay, so then we'll just carry on mixing that until it's come together a bit more in a ball. We'll see if we need to add any more water to it. Yeah, that's got the Marmite in it. We'll just mix it until it comes together in a ball. If you find it doesn't come together in a ball after a while, just take a few minutes. Or if you're doing it by hand, then just add sort of throw in a little bit more flour. But it is starting to. I'll turn it up a little bit. There we go. And then it should come away from the bottom of the bowl. As you can see, at the bottom of the bowl there isn't any now sticking, so I think it's about ready. Yep, that's about ready. It's come away from the bowl, it's no longer sticking to the bowl. So we'll turn that off. As you'll see, it's come together in a ball and it's quite elasticy. So I'm literally just going to leave it in there, and we'll just stick a tea towel over the top, and I shall stick that on the windowsill of my front room because that's where it gets the most sun, and we'll be back in an hour. Obviously you won't be back in an hour, be in the blink of an eye. We'll see what's happened. Right, the bread has now been proving for an hour. So we shall take the tea towel off, and as you can see it's risen quite a bit and it's nice and spongy. So now we have to do something that's called knocking it back. You need to knock the air out. Again, you can do this by hand, but I find it easier. I will be using my Cambridge mixer. At this point I'd just like to say a big hi and send a big hug to my lovely friend Barbara. I know you're watching this. Hi Barbara. I just want to thank you for all your support and encouragement while I've been doing these videos. And I haven't seen you for ages because of lockdown, but your big mug is here waiting to be full up with tea, ready for your next visit, okay? Love you. So here we go. We'll just knock this back. If you were doing this by hand, you're supposed to, I will show you quickly how, no I won't, I'll do a little bit on this and then I will show you just roughly how to do it by hand. I'll do a little bit on this first. Yeah, I'll do half and half and then we'll show you how to do it. clean up here. Only got a little bit of flour in it. I will do it. Get some on my hands. Smells lovely of Marmite in here now. So it's quite elasticy, as you can see. Put some more flour on my hands. And then we just push away and bring it towards and push away, and you can see that. Push it away. And normally I do this, I don't know, until it's a nice sort of soft sort of ball. Doesn't take long because you have already done one mix and prove. So there we have a nice ball. We'll just put a little bit of flour over the top of it. So now what we do with this, I have a proving basket. As you can see, mine's burnt because I was having a bit of a brain fog when I first got it, and I actually put the bread in the oven in it, and so it got burnt. But we just drop that in there. She says I haven't already put some flour around it. We just put a little bit of flour around it just to make sure it doesn't stick. There we go. Then we'll just drop that in there like that, and then that I've put mine in a bin bag, and then I will leave it now again for another somewhere warm, somewhere window, still in the front room at the moment, for another 20 minutes, and then we'll come back, and then that's when it goes in the oven. Okay. Right, our bread has now had its second through for exactly 20 minutes. So we'll take it out of our bag. There you can see it's risen nicely. And then all I do is just put some baking parchment on my metal tray to put in the oven. Gently tip it out. I don't want to let any of the air out particularly. And then just give it a couple of scores across the top, and then I'll just stick that in the oven on 200 for 35 minutes. Right, the bread has been in the oven for 35 minutes. I've just taken it out. It's looking good. This is the sound you want to be able to hear. You hear that? Hollow sound. That means that it's cooked and ready. So there we go. There is our Marmite bread. I will now leave it to cool because you don't want to cut it when it's still hot because you'll make it all a bit stodgy in the middle. But I'm happy with that. Okay, have a lovely day. Have a lovely rest of the week. And I shall be back with another video shortly.